Hi, everyone. Welcome to this May 6, 2025 workshop meeting of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Yanni for the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Board of Education meeting. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank all my teachers for all they do every day to ensure our students receive the best education. Enjoy the recognition you truly deserve on this Teacher Appreciation Week. And please remember that my team, the entire staff, and the entire Board of Education appreciate your work, not just this week, but every single day. So thank you from the bottom of our heart for all that you do for our students. I would like to give the board a few updates there. I think they're very important for them to know. It is with immense pride that the Physical Education, Health, and Athletic Department announces a truly historic achievement. For the first time ever at Oyster Bay, East Norwich Central School District, we earned the New York State Public High School Athletic Association School of Distinction Award. This incredible honor, first established in 2002-2003, is a testament to the exceptional dedication of our students, coaches, and staff. This achievement is based on the fact that 100% of our varsity team achieved Scholar Athletes status, which is 90% or better on 75% of the students on the roster. And this is a showcase of an outstanding commitment to both academic excellence and athletic success. Achieving this for the first time is a significant milestone, reflecting the hard work of our student athletes, the guidance of passionate coaches that we have, and the support of the entire staff and community. So I want to congratulate everybody on this amazing accomplishment. I'm so proud of all our students and staff and everybody. New York State, on Friday, April 25th, a representative from the New York State Education Department Office of Early Learning completed a monitoring visit to Roosevelt as part of the grant that we received for the operation of a full-day pre-kindergarten program. The visit included observation of both pre-K and discussion and meeting with administrators. The results of the visit completed, they found no areas of non-compliance and no corrective action required. It is clear that our teachers have created a wonderful environment. So I want to take this opportunity to thank our principal, Ms. Small, for all the work, Ms. Gazzo, our pre-K teacher, and Ms. Gonzalez for all the work that they do and all the support staff. That's a wonderful, wonderful achievement. I always know that I have the best teachers and the best staff, but to be recognized from an outside agent is truly rewarding. So thank you and congratulations. This year, based on the Board of Education goals regarding ELA participation, which is the state assessment, we have decided to engage parents of our younger children in a conversation. My entire staff worked together to create a presentation that we did to the parents, and I'm very happy to announce that the overall participation rate rose to 87.5%. But the one that is truly impressive is our third grade participation rate. It reached an astonishing percentage of 95%, which is quite impressive, very proud. I cannot thank the parents enough for their support, for opening their minds to the importance of assessment as part of learning. So thank you, congratulations. We have 5% more to go to get to 100%. I usually do a very good job on the superintendent's report, at least I believe that, but I think my students and the entire Bay News now, they do a much better job. So instead of keep going, I've decided to show you a little clip of the work that they do. All the students in the Bay News Now crew, they were not aware that they were being the video was going to be shown at the board meeting, but I think is something that is good to see. So, Mr. Dolan.
Hello and welcome to Bay News Now May Update. I'm Madeline Matthews.
And I'm Michael Rich.
Welcome to the monthly update, Michael. How's it feel?
Good. This is my first one.
It's going to be a great one,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Let's take a look now at your latest school district headlines.
Oyster Bay would like to congratulate 3 of our young, inspiring scientists. George Georgiou, Jeffrey Zhang, and Nicholas Palaos won first place in the environmental science category in the middle school SAAWA fair. In addition to this, they also won the Clean Energy Trailblazer Award for their work. Also, Emma Kim and Diana Lindstrom earned honorable mention in the behavioral science category for their work. Congratulations again.
The OPHS Easter egg hunt was a hit. Students and parents from throughout the Oyster Bay East Norwich School District came to the Middle High School library on April 12th and spent the afternoon hunting for eggs. Along the way, they got to meet the Easter Bunny himself. There was also a craft table and plenty of chocolate. Thank you again to everyone who attended. All proceeds go towards the 10th grade college trip. Do you find yourself suffering from spring allergies? If so, you're certainly not alone. But what causes them? I stepped outside to take a closer look. Spring has sprung, which means it's time for warm weather, lots of fun, and seasonal allergies. So you have seasonal allergies, correct?
I do have seasonal allergies, unfortunately, yes.
Allergies are on the rise during the spring months, and up to 40% of people suffer because of these allergies, according to People magazine. But what are allergies anyway?
Allergies are your immune system making a mistake and accidentally targeting and fighting a harmless substance and treating it like a pathogen.
Although there are certain allergies that occur all year round, like peanuts or latex, seasonal allergies are what usually get most people. So what is the most common offender?
I'm allergic to pollen and common allergies.
Pollen and dust, which are normal things. Usually we have a lot of people that are allergic to ragweed, pollen. There's more mold and dust. So a lot of people come in with those allergies.
Pollen is one of the most common springtime allergies, with plants like these being pollinated more and more and trees coming back from winter. Pollen is all up in the air and in our immune system. Most have reported that their allergies cause them various symptoms from runny noses to scratchy throats and overall cause discomfort throughout the day. Thankfully, there are ways to help reduce the symptoms.
Obviously, speak to a doctor before doing anything, but don't touch your face and your eyes. Make sure you're blowing your nose instead of sniffling in.
And also wash your hands frequently because you end up getting so much of those allergens on your hand, especially for those seasonal ones. So washing your hands will then prevent you from rubbing your eyes and getting those substances in your eyes if that's how you tend to show your allergies.
Whether it's peanuts or pollen, always consult your doctor about your allergies. And good luck. Madeline Matthews, Bay News Now. Michael, do you have allergies?
Yes, severe allergies.
Same here. Pollen?
Yeah.
That's the most common offender.
In sports news, congratulations to the girls' track team as they finished their league schedule with a record of 13-1 on Tuesday. Jocelyn Shadler, Emmeline Zeller, Gianna Paredes, Nicoletta Scalelis, Olivia Garcia, Liana Altamirano, Nicolette Lewis, Kaylee Jones, Scarlett Fredrickson, Sienna Stewart, Nicole Walsh, and Sky Ulmer each scored a significant amount of points to help the Lady Baymen defeat Cold Spring Harbor and West Hempstead. Congratulations to the entire team on a job well done. On April 23rd, OBHS took part in the National Letter of Intent Signing Day. We celebrated 6 student athletes who will be continuing their academic and athletic careers in college next year. Olivia Garcia will join women's track and field at SUNY Oneonta. Justin Alice will play baseball at St. Joseph's Brooklyn. Brianna Haid will join the cheerleading team at University at Albany. Scarlett Shelley will join women's fencing at Denison University. Christian Alvarado Palacios will play men's soccer at SUNY Old Westbury. And Brian Yanes will join the men's soccer team at SUNY Old Westbury.
In fine and performing arts, the TR Art Show was our biggest and best yet. This year, we proudly showcased over 2,200 pieces of student artwork throughout the halls of TR, including our beautiful new building extension. With the exciting addition of Full Day Pre-K, we are especially thrilled to feature their amazing creations for the very first time. A heartfelt thank you to all the parents who helped hang artwork, and to our incredible K-2 art teacher, Miss Brustman, for her passion and dedication. What an inspiring celebration of creativity! District-wide art shows are coming up at OBHS and Vernon. OBHS music students were treated to a visit from world-renowned composer Jessica Meyer. The Bayshore native and graduate of the Juilliard School is one of the world's foremost violists and a faculty member at the prestigious Manhattan School of Music. OBHS commissioned a brand new piece of music from Jessica titled From City to Shore. Our symphonic band and wind ensemble joined Jessica for an exclusive Q&A about the composing process. Then, our wind ensemble rehearsed the new piece alongside Jessica as she gave them feedback. The wind ensemble debuted their performance of this piece at the spring concert on April 28th at OBHS. Take a listen. Under perfect skies, Mr. Boris and his photography class stepped out earlier this month for an inspiring adventure. They joined the Gotham Sidewalk Street Art Gowanus walking tour led by the incredible Richard Garr. Richard Garr is a Brooklyn-based artist who blends art and history in unique ways. His work brought the streets to life and gave our students a whole new lens of public art.
Great job. Great job, Bay News Now. So tonight we celebrate a significant milestone in the professional journey of several valued members of our teaching staff as we formally recognize their achievement of tenure. Your dedication plays a critical role in shaping the future generation on a daily basis, and we acknowledge the outstanding contribution you make. Having visited your classrooms, I am consistently impressed with your commitment to our district's mission of empowering all students to achieve excellence. The district extends its sincere gratitude for your dedication and for serving as inspirational role models for our students. We wish each of you many years of success and fulfillment here in Oyster Bay, East Norwich Central School District. So at this time, I would like to call each one of you, one at a time, and if you can come up with your principal and the supervisor of your department. So, ready? So we start with Sean Hoja. He's an English teacher at Oyster Bay Middle High School. Mr. Sean Hoja is a dedicated and inspirational English teacher who cultivates a positive, respectful learning environment where students feel valued and comfortable taking risks. He demonstrates a strong commitment to curriculum development, notably introducing the RACER strategy and designing a student choice independent reading project to empower learners at diverse levels. Behind the classroom, Mr. Hoja actively contributes to student life as a co-advisor for the BayBots robotic team and as a class advisor, consistently demonstrating his dedication to student growth, both academically and personally. I remember when we had a visit from Chris Reggie from CBS News about wonderful schools, and Sean was working with the students, and the robot was not doing what it was supposed to do, and there were the cameras on it, and he was so patient and so calm I was truly impressed with how you handled the whole thing, so I'll never forget. Congratulations, wish you all the best at Oyster Bay. Put the whole full picture together. Ali Janaska, she's a kindergarten teacher at Theodore Roosevelt. So let's have Deborah Small. Ms. Ali Janaska embodies the energy essential for a kindergarten teacher, captivating our students with engaging lesson and read aloud. She designed instruction around clear objectives, incorporating the latest reading research and utilizing technology like Seesaw, Res Kids to enhance and personalize learning. Ms. Janoska holds students to high standards while providing ample support, collaborates effectively with colleagues on projects like the Earth Day Assembly, always a great presentation, leads special experiences like the fire department visits, and contributes broadly through the teaching of cheerleading and presenting a parent orientation. I'll never forget one of the trip that they had to Disney World, that the bus was late, and then when they arrived, it didn't have the proper paperwork, and the airplane was almost missing the airplane, and she was so calm, cool, and collected, and always smiling. Impressive. So congratulations, wish you all the best at Oyster Bay. Virginia Camp, she's a kindergarten teacher at Theodore Roosevelt. Virginia is a warm and caring kindergarten teacher whose classrooms run smoothly, fostering a positive and often playful environment conducive to learning. She possesses a strong understanding of standards-based lesson design, effectively engages all students using various techniques, and empowers them to take ownership of their learning, notably leading efforts in student self-assessment. Ms. Camp is also a technology leader for our grade level and demonstrates extensive commitment to the school community through diverse extracurricular activities, including the assistant drama production and committee work and coaching. And I always said to my wife, why we need to go to Broadway when we can just see this beautiful show. So keep up the great work and congratulations. Carla Melada, she's a science teacher at Oyster Bay Middle High School. Ms. Melara is a highly effective science educator committed to student success, fostering a positive, respectful, and focused learning environment. Our well-planned lesson incorporates diverse strategies and technology like Plicker to assess understanding and guide instruction using data. Ms. Melara thoughtfully enhances the classroom atmosphere with calming music and mindfulness exercise, and generously volunteers our time for school initiative and events, notably dedicating significant extra time as the advisor for the successful Science Olympiad team. I visited our class, and I remember leaving the class, and I said to myself, I wish I had her when I was in school as a science teacher. Quite impressive, the environment that she creates. So congratulations, wish you all the best at Oyster Bay. Alexandra Mueller, orchestra teacher at James H. Vernon. Alexandra has been pivotal in establishing and developing the 4th through 6th grade orchestra program at Vernon, building its curriculum from the start. She excites, challenges, and motivates our students, elevating the program's rigor while creating a respectful environment where young musicians feel safe to take risks and grow. Ms. Mueller utilizes a student-driven lesson, encourages reflection, incorporates technology to support practice, and extend our impact significantly as a vital advisor and director within the Vernon Theater Arts Club. When we were designing the music wing at Vernon, I thought about Alexandra and I said, this is a brand new teacher, a brand new building, a new program. I don't know how she sleeps at night, but she's sleeping well and she's doing a beautiful job. I don't know if she's sleeping well, but I'm assuming you do. Congratulations. Alexandra, that was a big assumption on my part. Justin Perlman, mathematics teacher at Oyster Bay Middle High School. You got fans. Mr. Justin Perlman fosters a positive and productive classroom climate, implementing engaging instructional strategies to cater to diverse learners in mathematics. He consistently challenges students to deepen their understanding by justifying their reasoning and demonstrate effective classroom management. Mr. Perlman extends his commitment behind math instruction by co-advising the Bay Bots, together with Sean, guiding them to competition and embracing his own learning by teaching technology sections using the Project Lead the Way curriculum. When I interviewed Justin, it was at the same time with Justin. He was coming from the city and he had a lot of experience. And I remember asking him, how do you gonna get used to the Long Island and changing? And he said with a lot of confidence, he said, I just love what I do. It doesn't matter what I am, tenure, not tenure. It doesn't mean anything to me. I just love to be around the kids and teach. And he demonstrated that every single day. And I was impressed and I'm constantly impressed. Keep up the great work. Enjoy. Donna Rubel, special education teacher at James H. Vernon. Ms. Donna Rubel cultivates a warm, nurturing, and supporting environment for our students, providing individualized instruction, support and foster growth while maintaining high standards. She builds strong collaborative relationship with students, parents, and staff, skillfully integrates students' interest in technology into the lesson, and utilizes data to improve students' performance. Ms. Rubel actively seeks professional development, contributes to district committee, supports extended school program, and exemplifies responsibility and care, promoting inclusivity through the school. I have to say that Donna worked together with a lot of people and with Ms. Small on the literacy commitment, and she did a wonderful job inspiring teachers that have been teaching for many years and looking at the work, and I was quite impressed to hear all the wonderful things that you're doing. Keep up the great work. Wish you all the best. Elena Thompson, mathematics teacher, Oyster Bay Middle High School. Elaine is an effective and engaging mathematics instructor who creates a positive, inclusive classroom where students feel valued. She skillfully integrates technology to enhance learning, fostering a love of the subject through collaboration and by challenging students to reach their full potential. Ms. Thompson demonstrates dedication behind the classroom as the advisor of the Math Honor Society, providing enrichment opportunities such as trips to the National Museum of Mathematics, and consistently fulfill our duties with professionalism. I am impressed every time I visit a math teacher, but when I visited Elaine, it was quite clear that she has a passion not just for teaching, but for pure mathematics, which is quite impressive, and I'm so glad that you're the advisor of Math Honor Society. Always doing a great job. Thank you. Yiming Wang, 5th grade Mandarin teacher, James at James H. Vernon School. Yiming has significantly enriched the Vernon community, playing a key role in establishing the Mandarin program and shaping a passion for the language and the Chinese culture. She creates a supportive, engaging, and respectful learning environment, immersing students through a hands-on approach that includes cultural elements, technology, music, and interactive activities. Ms. Wang fosters collaboration, builds student confidence, promotes cultural awareness through school events like the Lunar New Year celebration, and is regarded as a kind of helpful colleague. I have to tell you that Ms. Wang is the Mandarin program on Oyster Bay, and I'm very proud of all the work that she does. And when I visit our classroom, I felt like for the first time I can learn a language other than a Latin language. So I have a hope that I can do it if I follow your class. All right, congratulations. Ashley Wyman, school social worker at James H. Vernon. Ashley is an invaluable and dedicated member of the Vernon school community, profoundly impacts students' well-being through her passion and commitment. She develops and implements vital social and emotional learning lessons, collaborates effectively with colleagues and administration on student support, and actively participates in extracurriculars. Ms. Wyman's leadership in initiatives like Kindness Matter and P.S. I Love You Day significantly promotes mental health awareness and inclusivity, while our kind, caring manner builds trusting relationship with students. And I spent a little time last year, a couple years ago, at Vernon for several weeks, and I've worked closely with Ms. Wyman, and even in situations that sometimes are not the happiest moment, she had the ability to find positivity in everything that she does. Keep up the great work. It's a pleasure to have you. Congratulations. Nicole Freeman, Assistant Director for Special Education. Ms. Freeman demonstrates an exemplary commitment to all students, particularly those with diverse needs, significantly enhancing our curriculum and instruction. She actively empowers colleagues through targeted training on data-driven goals and progress monitoring, and provides invaluable guidance to our mental health staff regarding student support, intervention strategies, and best practice. Our leadership in key initiatives, such as implementing new life skills and reading program and improving the IEP process, underscore our dedication to student success and continuous improvement. Behind the classroom, Ms. Freeman excels at fostering vital partnership with families, ensuring they receive support and resource, especially during challenging times. Our participation in the District Wellness Committee has expanded important mental health initiatives throughout our community. In all our interaction, she builds positive relationship, making her a highly valued administrative member of our team. Nicole is a lot more than an amazing professional. She's there for a colleague no matter what the day looks like. And talking to Nicole, you realize that there is a place for everything. And when things are all over the place and there is a lot of commotion, Nicole is always the voice of calmness, and you figure out, well, we are alive, we're here, it's a good day, and we'll figure out. So keep up the great work. It's a pleasure to work with you, and we wish you all the best at Oyster Bay for many years. So at this point, let's take a picture all together. I know that we'll set it up. I know that a lot of the families have celebration prepared. So maybe after this, it would be a good time for you to do a slow exit if you want to start the celebration early. So let's take a picture. Maureen, this has nothing to do with your presentation. They just... You wanna... At this point, I'd like to invite Maureen Raynor for a budget hearing presentation.
All right, good evening. This evening, we are holding the public hearing for the 25-26 school budget. There we go. Throughout the 25-26 budget season, our budget mission has been to advance Oyster Bay East Norwich as a model of excellence and innovation, providing exceptional opportunities and outcomes for all students, while partnering with our community and staff to ensure thoughtful management of resources and investments to the future. We have remained focused on staying within the allowable tax levy cap, strategically aligning resources, using capital reserves and budget allocations to invest in the facilities, and promoting fiscal responsibility. Tonight's hearing is going to include an overview of the entire budget for the 25-26 school year, as well as information about the proposed capital reserve projects and details regarding the budget vote. As we have been discussing, the budget process this year required careful attention to ensure that a balanced budget is proposed due to several factors, specifically a CPI which continues to be over 2% and an allowable tax levy growth factor capped at the amount of taxes we were able to propose. The summary of the adopted 25-26 budget is as follows. On the left, the revenue has the largest portion of the tax levy, which is $59 million, the state aid, which is about $3.3 million, reserves, fund balance, and miscellaneous make up the remaining $4.5 million. That does equal the expense budget of $65,791,061. The major categories in the revenue budget as presented tonight represent those three categories where the tax levy represents 88%, the state aid accounts for 5%, and the other revenue, again, reserves, fund balance, and miscellaneous, is 7%. The tax levy, although the rate of inflation is commonly referred to as CPI, this year is 3.3%, which is over 2% for the fourth consecutive year. The New York State Comptroller, again, has capped the allowable tax levy growth factor at 2%. This is the key component of the tax cap calculation, which is the amount of revenue we're able to propose. For the 25-26 school year, this results in an allowable tax levy limit of 2.91%. Therefore, the levy in this proposed budget is $59,891,222, which is within this allowable tax levy limit. We've been receiving some information recently of the governor's office that there has been a general agreement on the state budget. However, there's been a 10th budget extender which has been passed, which funds the government through May 7th. However, as I stated at the last meeting, we are still confident in this budget as presented and adopted by the Board of Education, since we do not expect... Sure, can you hear me now? Great, thank you. So, thank you, Mr. Leopak. As I stated at the last meeting, we are still confident in the budget which is presented and adopted by the Board of Education, since we do not expect the enacted state budget to have a major effect on the proposed state aid we received back in January. These are the numbers for this year, and again, the first number that you see here is the foundation aid, which Oyster Bay East Norwich received the minimum increase of 2% from state aid, which was presented back in January. The third main section of the revenue budget is comprised of the reserves, fund balance, and miscellaneous revenue. Each year, the reserves are reviewed by the district and the Board of Education to determine the best use of these funds while supporting the budget to remain fiscally responsible and strengthening our long-term financial condition. The balance of each of these funds are indicated here, as well as in our financial statements presented earlier this year by external auditors. The 25-26 proposed budget includes the same amount of reserve and fund balance as in the prior year. However, this chart shows in the past several years the appropriated reserves and fund balance used as part of the budget. As you can see, it's been a slight increase over the past several years, which is mostly due to the sharp increase in CPI that we've discussed. As I stated earlier, the district's long-term financial planning and strong financial condition has supported the district's commitment to stabilizing the tax levy increase for our community. The miscellaneous revenue is all listed here. This includes things such as use of facilities agreements, interest income, and some county reimbursements. Putting this all together, we're able to present to you the amount of the 25-26 revenue budget of the $67,791,061. In balancing that with the expense side of the expense budget is mostly received from salaries, benefits, and contractual services. In further detail, this chart shows the expenditure budget. You can see from the top two lines of the chart, salaries and wages along with the employee benefits, which includes health insurance, TRS, ERS, as well as disability insurance costs, are the largest two components. This chart represents these same categories in a percentage form. Again, you can see that the salaries and wages, benefits, followed by transportation is the third largest cost. An important analysis of the expenditure budget is the three-part budget. This breaks down the expenditures into three main categories: administrative, which are mostly supervision and business and legal costs; capital, which are facilities and utility expenses; where program is mostly the educational costs. This expenditure budget breaks those main charts, compare the current approved 24-25 budget compared to the adopted 25-26. And I am proud to say you can see on the bottom that the program costs, which are our direct educational costs, have been increased from last year to this year with a reduction in the administrative and capital costs. This supports the focus of strategically realigning resources to support academic, athletic, and arts programs that foster students' growth and success. In balancing the revenue and expenses, you can see here that the proposed budget of over $67 million, which is an approximate $2.2 million when you compare the current year to next year. In addition to the budget proposition on the ballot this May, you will also find two propositions for projects that will be funded through the Capital Reserve Fund. Year after year, the capital reserves allow the district to support long-term facilities and technology planning while strengthening a multi-year financial plan. With the capital projects proposed this year, we're going to continue the renovations and improvements of existing buildings. This year's projects include at the high school, concrete and asphalt and parking lot renovations, the auditorium house lights replacement, and several HVAC renovations at the high school. At Theodore Roosevelt, there's going to be some cafeteria renovations, installation of air conditioning in the cafeteria, as well as some carpet and flooring replacement in several classrooms. District-wide, there are several roof repairs, in addition to an administration building roof replacement that is necessary. Proposition 2 supports the multi-year technology plan, where students at TR have a one-to-one iPad, students in third grade receive a Chromebook, and then later again in high school receive an updated Chromebook that they continue to use until they graduate. In addition to this one-to-one device plan it supports, it's also a multi-year replacement of staff devices, educational display boards, and this year there's some security system upgrades that will occur. Here you will see the three propositions that the district is proposing on the ballot this May. First would be supporting the budget at $67,791,061. Proposition number 2 would be for the technology capital reserve, as I just discussed, and proposition 3 is for the capital projects, the facilities projects. The budget is taking place on May 20th at the Oyster Bay High School course room from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., which has been consistent with our timeline all along back from the beginning of the year. Here are several resources for your availability online. This presents a historical vote information. Again, you can see, we've been very proud to say, even though we've had a high CPI, we've had a very steady tax levy increase for the community. On these next few slides, you'll see some voter information. It is important to note that the last date to register to vote is May 15th. This is the district clerk's information with the phone number and address, as well as all of these resources are made available on the agenda page. You will see the presentations attached, as well as on the Board of Education webpage of our website. Not only all of the current year's budget information and resources are posted, as well as on the left side, you'll see the archives of all prior years. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's move on to approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as listed and attached below?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to the opportunity for the public to be heard on agenda items. In accordance with the open meeting law, school board meetings where school district business will be discussed are open to the public. The Oyster Bay East Norwich Board of Education welcomes public comment at its meetings. The Board of Education will respond to comments and/or inquiries in the appropriate manner. This portion of the meeting is designed exclusively for agenda items. A sign-in book is provided for those residents wishing to address the board. In order to be recognized, you must be signed in. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes. The board president will call you to the microphone in the order in which you have signed in. Public discussion is prohibited regarding matters relating to an individual's reputation, privacy, or right to due process, which in some way could be violated. A second commentary period is provided for non-agenda items prior to adjournment. We thank you for your participation and cooperation. First is Ms. Patricia Burke.
My name is Patricia Burke. I am a retired secretary who worked for the Oyster Bay East Norwich schools for 30 years. I have a question I'd like to address to Mrs. Kowalski as president of the Board of Education regarding the layoff of 2 members of the grounds crew. In the budget line items, the salaries for the grounds crew is listed as $270,095 for the crew that had previously been 4 people. As of July 1st, there will only be 1 remaining groundskeeper. Will he receive that amount as salary, or will the budget amount be changed? In my day, although the secretaries and custodians were the lowest paid employees of the district, we took great pride in our work. Look around you at this room. This building was built in 1929. It gleams because it is well maintained by a dedicated custodial crew. The lawns and trees outside are maintained by a dedicated grounds crew. With only 1/4 of the staff, who will cut the lawns? Who will get out of bed on a snowy night at 3:30 a.m. to plow the parking lots? Who will pick up band instruments, saxophones, tubas, bass drums, snare drums, carefully arrange them in the truck to prevent damage, and drive them to another building or to another district, and load them, again, carefully, then reverse the process when the performance is over? It's your grounds crew that does that. At Thanksgiving, who will load the trucks with hundreds of pounds of donated food and transport it to the designated drop-off point for the community food drive? Repeat this process again with toys at Christmas time. That's your grounds crew. The groundskeepers take great pride in maintaining the athletic fields and seeing they are properly striped for each game so our teams have the best facilities possible. The grass will keep growing. The snow will keep falling. Who deals with them is up to you. A few years back, when for the first time the district was going to have to hire security guards, the residents of Oyster Bay and East Norwich let it be known that they preferred that the district hire their own rather than using an outside agency. If you are considering using outside landscapers, I urge you to reconsider. Reconsider your position and reinstate Mr. Karamis and Mr. Cariaga to the grounds crew. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Okay, Miss Anne-Marie Longo.
Do you want to answer that first?
Oh, Dr. Yanni, will there be only one groundskeeper?
So the abolishment of the position is just the abolishment of the current position that we have. The plan is to restructure, and the answer is no, there will not be just one groundskeeper for the district.
Ms. Longo?
So thank you for that. So I don't remember, and I've looked back since where you guys decided and discussed in public, based on the sunshine laws, what you were doing to reorganize the grounds crews. You can't just sit there and take, as Mrs. Burke said, $270,000 out of the budget and rechange it without notification or public discussion so that every person in this community can hear what you as a board are discussing, can understand where you're saving the money or spending the money elsewhere, and can understand where we and all the people who live in this community who voted every single one of you in and who allowed you to hire a superintendent and run this school district, you basically still answer to the community. So where, in what meeting did you people openly discuss the reorganization of the grounds crew? We have 53 acres of land here that 4 people have immaculately taken care of this land. Every single day, they get up and they shovel. And $270,000, you are not even getting a person to come here and plow this place for $270,000. I also would like to know that how are you going to hire somebody legally to do the work that the grounds crew did? You cannot replace those people, and these people cannot come in and do the same identical work. So I'm a little concerned and a little perplexed on how I continually come to board meetings and watch, and board meeting business is not being held in public so we all can hear it. You're not discussing what's going into this budget and what's changing in our schools in public, so we can hear it, so we as taxpayers can understand where our money's going. And this is just a perfect example how one day we see the grounds crews are gone. Well, what have you done? What is the numbers? Where are you saving money? Are you doing it for a cost savings? Are you doing it because it was inefficiently done? I mean, I think we have the right to know. So I would like an explanation, and I would like to know when, based on the Sunshine Law, you people discuss this in public.
Ms. Longo, thank you for your question. I'm just going to answer in the order that I see it. The first thing is, unfortunately, you're making the assumption, which I understand the frustration, that you're making the assumption that we are moving forward with one ground person. So to answer your question, we're not entertaining an outside agency. All we're doing right now is making sure that the district remains in top conditions. So we're gonna, guys, you gotta understand that she asked a question and I'm trying to answer, so. Ms. Longo, let me finish, and then if I didn't answer, then you come back again and you ask more questions. So right now, the assumption that we are moving forward with one crew is not correct. We are working with civil service, and first step is the abolishment of the position that we have on the agenda tonight. The next step is, if the board approves the resolution, is to go back to the civil service, request a classification of position, which deals with the position, the title, what we are allowed to hire, and they would also let us know who is entitled to the new positions that we are creating. The other thing, which is very important, is the fact that we are not talking about elimination, we are talking about a structuring of the system that we have in place. And that is the same thing that we have been doing for the past 4 years with administrators, with supervisors. We have been restructuring to efficiently manage the district. When it comes to information that is related to personnel, we are not discussing that in public, but what I can assure you that we have been working with civil service, we have been following the law, we will continue to follow the law, and we will make sure that at the end of the day, if the board will approve the resolution, which they have an option tonight to approve or not approve it, we will go back to civil service and we will request the position that we need to request to properly and efficiently run the district.
So my question is, when was this discussed, and for what reason does the Board of Education feel that after 50 years, we need to restructure the grounds crews and go back to civil service and refill out positions? So do we end there? Do we restructure the cleaners in the building? Is that what we do? And when was it discussed in public, is my question.
The resolution is presented to the board tonight. I'm trying to answer your question. So the resolution is tonight. The board has the option to discuss if they choose so. But what I'm telling you is that at this point, the position, the restructuring of the position is part of my duties if I decide to recommend to the board.
So you on your own decided to restructure without a discussion with the Board of Education? Is that my understanding of what you were saying here? And
My-
then tonight is the discussion with the Board of Education about a decision you on your own made?
My recommendation tonight is provided in the agenda with the resolution, but what I'm telling you is that there are certain items that I am allowed to discuss in executive session with the board, not in public.
I'm not talking about an individual person or people. I'm talking about the Board
Well,
of Education discussing changing a function of this district and how we've worked for years. And we as the public deserve to understand what you people are doing behind closed doors. You're not discussing this in public. And I beg to differ, Dr. Yanni, that you can come and make a decision and change something without the support of the Board of Education and a discussion prior to moving forward. And I would hope that this Board of Education and your president of your Board of Education sitting there understands that. So I'm asking again, when this was publicly discussed, and for what reason? Are we saving money? Are we hiring new people? Or is the district just going to get rid of supervisors?
The hope is that we're hiring new people and that we are creating a more efficient system. In terms of discussion, it would be discussed, it was discussed at the time that it was discussed in executive session.
Wait a minute, but you cannot talk is it that in executive session, you people are talking about reorganizing and restructuring the grounds crew? We're not talking about individual people. And if we're talking about individual people, I mean, unfortunately, we're a small district. So if we're gonna restructure an English department, we're unfortunately talking about one person, okay? But when you're talking about restructuring the grounds crew, that discussion should be had in public.
So you've been a board president,
Yes,
so I'm
I've
sure
been.
you do understand what I'm about to tell you. In this particular case, when you have one supervisor and you're talking about restructuring, indirectly, you're talking about the one person in the executive session that is related to personnel that cannot be discussed in public, but indirectly, the two things are together. If I had a department that had 25 people and I'm restructuring, it could be a potential discussion in public because we're talking about restructuring. Here, we're talking about the restructuring and is only one person that holds that position.
So personally, so individually, you're talking about this technically is about one, maybe two people, since it's affecting two people. You're not restructuring a department. You're not saving the district money. Are you saving the district money? Is this why we're doing this? Are you changing the grounds thing because you're saving the district money? I'm just
direct-
really confused over all of this.
I'm trying to clarify as much as I can. The efficiency is driving the decision. The fact that we're saving some money is a consequence, but the efficiency is what drives the decision of my recommendation.
I think it's a shame that board business to this magnitude is not discussed in public, and that the Board of Education is sitting there and allowing this to happen and continually happen, and that we are surprised on the
But I gotta
thing.
tell you one thing. I'll give you.
I'm surprised.
But I gotta tell you one thing. For you to come up here and tell that we should be ashamed of what is going on when we are trying to do what's best for the district, I think it is an insult to my board that works
Really?
day and night without doing anything.
You know, well, I don't understand, Dr. Yanni, but the public has the right to know. We have the right to watch. We have the right to listen to discussions. We have the right to understand what's going on in our districts, okay? And I think it's time that this town wakes up and sees what's going on.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Thomas Burke?
I don't know if I can top those two ladies. I've been around here since 1956. I'm an alumnus, whatever, 71, 72. And to do what you're doing, it's impossible to run a landscaping crew, a grounds crew, with one person. Termination letters were sent out prior. You have that in print on the agenda that you're terminating, you're firing these two people. How is that possible without cause? How is that possible? Are you guys gonna shovel? Are you gonna plow? Will you donate $237,000 of your salary to support them? I doubt it. So, welcome to Oyster Bay. I never met you. I finally had a chance to meet you and President, you, Kowalski. But these guys have done a great job. And to think that one person is going to cut all the grass, salt all the sidewalks, and plow everything, I think you really got to consider what you voted on or did not vote on, as far as I can tell. But the letters have been sent, and it's in that agenda. And if it's your personal decision, that's not right. That's all I got to say. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. So, Dr. Yanni, I just want to make it clear that there will not be just one groundskeeper.
Now, we're working with civil service. There will not be one ground. We will go back to civil service, announce the position, and hire the appropriate people to run the district.
So are you going to be hiring anybody outside?
We
In
are
other
not,
words, a landscaping company or anything like that?
we
Is
are
that
not considering, or we're not hiring an outside agency. We are work with the civil service to hire people that are part of the civil service department. So we're not hiring an outside agency to come and cut the grass or plow the snow or anything. We are posting the position and we'll rehire the people under a different structure. We will work with civil service and we will post the position, and if there are once the position is posted, anybody is more than welcome to apply.
Well, if they can't,
Ms. Longo, if you have a question, I'm really not entertaining the back and forth, so, yeah, it's okay, you have the time, so. I'm not sure what the question is because I
Is
couldn't
it
hear.
legal to change the title in civil servant,
Yeah.
okay, and have the new person do the same identical job that the old person did?
I am not stating that. What I'm saying is that step number one would be to abolish the
But
position.
why?
But
why?
for efficiency.
But why? Were they not
For
doing their
efficiency.
jobs? Were they not? I don't. You know, Dr. Yanni, I understand what you're saying, but it seems that your Board of Education has questions. You acted, and this gentleman is right. You sent out letters to abolish a position before a Board of Education even took action on it. So you're acting and they're reacting? Is that how this goes? Because this is, I mean, you're hiring 2-3 people to do the identical job that people have done for 25 years? And you people are coming here and saying that it's not being done well?
So, first of all,
I'm sorry.
First of all, you're putting words in my mouth by
I'm
stating
stating
something that I
facts.
didn't state.
I'm
All I'm
stating
saying
facts.
all I'm saying is that I'm proposing the abolishment of the supervisor position and the labor, and I'm going back to civil service
But
and
why?
reclassification of position.
But why? The question is
For
why?
efficiency.
So, you keep saying for efficiency, but yet, you are going back to civil service to find a way, quote unquote, on how you can hire, where you can hire somebody to come in and do the identical job that these 3 people did. 1 quit, 2 were let go for efficiency. And you're gonna go back to civil service and you're gonna hire these 3 people for efficiency because the jobs were done poorly, incorrectly?
well,
I
that
can
we,
under-
that we can't, that you can't discuss, right? for
Okay,
board, right? I mean,
okay,
But
but
the question is, can you go back to civil service, and civil service will require who gets what jobs? Is that how it works?
No,
Okay, so it's not,
Mrs. Kowalski, just to clarify for the community, those sitting here and those listening, your superintendent made a decision for efficiencies, fired 2 people, taking an agenda item 3 weeks later, and now you guys are going to discuss whether you're going to take action on that efficiency after the fact?
So just so you know, the way civil service will work is that we are proposing the restructuring to civil service. Then at that point, they give us the clearance to go ahead and propose the abolishment to the board. The decision is not official until the board will approve the resolution.
I understand
And then
that.
after that, at that point, once the resolution is approved by the board, we will go back to civil service, confirm that the resolution was approved by the board, and request the new titles. In the event, like you're stating, in the event that I would mistakenly go to the civil service and request the same position, the people that are excess are entitled to that position by law. They don't have to interview, they don't have to do anything. So for example, if I go back tomorrow to civil service and I said to civil service, I decide that based on my restructure that I recommend to the board, I would need a groundkeeper and a laborer, they would at that point tell us who are the people who would be rehired in that position, number 1. Number 2, when we go to civil service, we don't tell the people we are just talking about position. But unfortunately, with one position in place, automatically people will make that connection. But it is civil service that dictates how we are moving forward.
Again, the question and the statement is, to Mrs. Kowalski, is that you are now just hearing about this and you guys are taking action. This is the first time that this was discussed in public prior to any action being taken. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't see how that falls in line with the Sunshine Law.
I understand, but you understand the law, that in terms of executive session, the board and the superintendent have the right to discuss personnel matter in executive session.
Absolutely, but this is not a matter of personnel. This is a matter of
I disagree.
restructuring the grounds crews. And I don't know, I mean, I guess you and I will debate this, so maybe New York State school boards would know better, which is the better way to do it. Since all the meetings are publicized and taped, maybe we should ask them. But at the end of the day, you took an action, and now you're discussing it with the board. I find that strange.
First of all, I'm recommending.
No,
first of
you
all,
took an action.
but
You sent a letter
but
out.
Let's be clear for the record. So since it's recorded, let's be clear for the record. First thing is that I did not take an action. I recommended a resolution that I presented to the board, number one. Number two, the position, the people on the job, they're still on the job until June 30th. And if I made a mistake, or if I recommended something that is not right, or is against the law, civil service will come back to me and say, Tatiana, you're wrong. You have to reinstate X, Y, and Z to the position. And I disagree with you that as you know, I am allowed to discuss in executive session personnel matter, and it's not fair to discuss it in public.
I'm not talking about a person, I'm talking about the restructuring of a grounds crew. And to be honest, I think what you're explaining to us here is that you are now going to civil service after you've taken action, after you've sent letters out, after you've acted, not taken action, I correct myself, after you've acted, you're gonna now discuss it with your Board of Ed, and now you're gonna go to civil service to find out that what you're doing is correct and not illegal and we can't be sued for it? I don't
Is
know.
that what I said? What I said is that the civil service, we propose to the civil service to restructure. They give us all the details. Once it's approved by the Board of Education, we have to go back to civil service and tell them that there was a resolution that was approved by the board. So
Why can't you table the resolution until you find out from CSEA whether what you're doing is even legal?
because my recommendation to the board tonight is to restructure the positions, and I believe that that would be a more efficient system for the district.
Will civil service tell you what to do now? Like, can you give them a?
Where's the civil service lawyer to ask them?
Civil service will not discuss anything in a hypothetical situation. Therefore, any new classification position, whatever title it may be, civil service will not give us a decision on that until the abolishment is approved. Once it's approved, we can then submit a classification for a position. At that time, civil service will then turn around and say to us, either a person on a preferred eligibility list is required to hold that position, a person on a classified competitive title is supposed to hire this, or you can hire from the outside based on that. We put a classification of position into civil service. They will then tell us, but they will not tell us anything hypothetical. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of how the Nassau County Civil Service works. So they will not give us anything hypothetical. So tabling this resolution does not answer any questions.
It also moves, I don't know, as the Board of Education, you know, I implore you guys to stop and think about what you're doing here. Because I think that what's been done here, on many reasons, have been done unfairly. And that you people were not notified of what was going on. And that you're not discussing it in public. And we have the right to know what's going on with our districts, especially when it comes to the grounds crew and stuff like that. I mean, forget that it's 2 and 3 people that this is affecting. You have top lawyers here that I know work for civil service, and I know work to protect civil service people. So you could definitely ask them the questions, but the way I see it, this whole entire process was done backwards, and I'm not sure myself if this is telling me that this is how things are done around here. And I question it because I'm a taxpayer. So that's all. I want no more response.
Thank you, Ms. Longo. Does the board have any questions?
I would just confirm, in order to move ahead with the restructure, the first step is the abolishment of the positions, and then moving or consulting civil service again to see what they would allow going forward.
That is correct. The first step in the restructuring of the old structure is to abolish the positions that we have presented tonight, that I've recommended tonight. And the next step is to go to civil service, confirm the resolution that passed, if it passes, and then at that point, civil service will give us direction in if we decide to hire people in the positions.
What did the lawyers say? Is the question answer to the question?
So, so when you go to civil service, I mean, this is a crazy thing. So if you wanted to restructure, you have to go to civil service, abolish a position, and then you have to go back to civil service. They won't tell you before you abolish the position what you can do. But then after you abolish the position, then they tell you what you can do.
So there are several areas of civil service. There's a placement unit, which will determine if there's let's say a canvas lists somebody in a competitive title.
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't.
Sorry. There's several areas of civil service that we work with. There's no one person in civil service that discusses the whole process. So there is a classifications unit, which determines what positions are appropriate for a school district to hold and what class that's in, whether it's an exempt class, a competitive class, a non-competitive title, or laborer title. They determine whether or not you can have that position, whether you can have one of those positions, 5 of those positions, or none of those positions. Once that gets approved, that unit then turns it over to then the placement unit. They say, okay, if it's a competitive title, like many of our clerical positions are, they give us a list and say, here's your certified list of eligible candidates and the scores they received, and then we have to hire that. If there's somebody in a preferred eligibility list, they will say, this person is entitled to that position. Before you go to the outside, you must hire off the preferred eligibility list. Then there's another unit called municipal transactions, which allows us to then make a personnel action. At that time, if we have a person we want to put into one of those vacant positions, we submit an application which lists their qualifications. If they meet the minimum qualifications, then civil service will approve that person. So until the position on the table for tonight is abolished, the first unit will not even discuss additional placement of positions. Because of the size of the district and how many buildings we have, we cannot ask for another one until this one has been abolished. Then the recommendation of a new position for the district, whatever title that may be, can then be requested.
Well, first of all, I'm hoping that you folks rely on that, but discussions between some attorneys and the board.
As a Board of Education, before this is happening, that you're allowing your superintendent to do what is rightfully your job as a Board of Education.
Well, we've restructured the school district in a lot of different ways throughout the entire school district that Dr. Yanni's restructured. So it's this is part of it, and he's come up with a recommendation here for a resolution for us to approve or not tonight. Well, if we don't approve, then obviously the letter is not going to.
Ms. Kowalski, if you would like me to answer you. The letter, it is very typical, if not common in all cases, where an employee is notified of a pending action of the board. It is anticipated the board will be on the agenda. It is never a case, including for,
I'm sorry,
can you hear me okay? Including for all new hires that are presented with an offer letter, always saying it's contingent upon board approval, that whether it's a new hire, a change in position,
So did
whether
these
it's
letters that
abolishment.
go out say it was contingent on the board
They
resolution?
say the recommendation will be made on a board agenda, at the next board agenda, and usually it has the date in there. So it's for all HR items, whether it's hiring, changing positions, recommending a maternity leave, any sort of action that you see on the board, the employee is notified before the agenda goes public. The employee has the right to understand what recommendation will be made before it's open to the public. So it is very typical for an employee to receive that letter at least a week ahead of time of a board agenda, so they understand what action the board will be taking beforehand.
Okay. Anybody have any other further questions? Mhm. Okay. So let's move on to then our instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second.
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 Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to approval of non-instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the non-instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Opposed? Who knows? Knows? Anybody else? Would you like, I'd like to ask the board, would you like this tabled for another time, or no?
Would you say table for another time? Is that what you said?
Yeah, table it to discuss it with the lawyers for a future vote? Because I know it was just presented tonight that you might want additional information.
I say we table it.
Table it? Okay. I don't know how to do that on the resolution portion of this. Can I have a motion to remove section 8.03?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, and then what do I do? Okay, now I'd like to vote on 801 and the remaining items.
So moved.
So I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to approval of special services resolutions. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the special services resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to approval of new business resolutions. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the new business resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to the opportunity for the public to be heard on non-agenda items. Ms. Longo.
Thank you. I do want to talk about the Sunshine Law, though. I'm very concerned when I come here and board meetings are 30-minute long, and I do not see things that we should be hearing and discussing in public being discussed in public. I don't know how it's being done now, but I've got a sick inclination that it's not being done in public, since I don't see anything being done in public, and you can't run a school without discussing things like reorganization in public. So, I mean, I don't know how to move forward with it. It's upsetting to me, and it's upsetting to the community. So, I don't know, Mrs. Kowalski, if we can get your commitment for the remainder of the tenure of you and board, or whoever else is going to be the next president of the Board of Education, to go back to watching open sunshine meeting laws and following them. Because at this point, I have to make a recommendation to go to this state and file a complaint. Because I don't see it. I mean, this is just full knowledge that this is not being discussed in public. And I hate to do it,
Well, I
but
think tonight it was discussed in public. I mean, he brought
tonight
to
it was
us-
after the fact,
But he
Mrs.
brought it to us
Kowalski.
tonight as a recommendation.
But no, it was not. He sent a letter out 3 weeks ago. So
It's
if you're
fascinating, but
backpedaling.
I got to be honest with you. It's truly fascinating how you are changing the statements at your will.
I'm not changing
You're
statements
doing
at
it
my
because
will.
you're doing it because you made a statement before where you talked about the fact that the budget was presented. We are presenting more than ever before. Ever before we present.
Here we
You're
go
rolling
again.
your eyes, but I'm not rolling my eyes.
You know what, Dr. Yanni, you and I are going to debate who's better, who was better,
No, I'm not talking
you or
about who's
previous
better, who's
superintendents.
worse. What I'm saying is,
I can't
you're
fight with
assuming
that.
that I'm discussing things that I should not,
I'm
should
not,
be discussed
I'm
in
not
public when
directing
I'm
this
not.
to you.
You're
I'm directing
stating-
this to Mrs. Kowalski.
Can I just say something?
Who's the president of the board.
Can I just say something? You're stating that, and Ms. Raynor explained in clear details, the letter that was sent was a normal procedure that is done and approved by civil
It
service.
says that in the letter?
It says in the letter.
It says that this is contingent upon board approval?
It says, look at the letter.
I haven't
Take a
seen the
look at the letter.
That's
But-
exactly what I asked.
Okay.
I asked, did it say that? And did we see, I mean, I did not know about a letter going out.
Okay, there you go.
So, I mean,
I'm just
this is literally, it's presented, if you think these meetings are short, executive meetings are very, very short.
No.
But
Lucky
this
us.
is being presented, I mean, this is the way it's done, right? He presents a resolution, we look at the agenda, we have questions. I mean, you brought up some great questions, some that we didn't think about also. We ask him the questions in public if there is, an issue, and he discusses it, and he explains to us what's going on. I didn't understand that CSE, that the civil service wouldn't give you a that was new to me, that you ask them that you want to restructure, and then they will not tell you anything until after you abolish a position, and then they tell you who you have to hire, which is unbelievable to me that that's the way
I
it acts.
agree with you, but you have very great lawyers.
Right, and
I
that's
mean,
what,
I know
now you
that.
just heard that
You
we're
need
settled.
to ask them, and they fight on behalf of CSEA people.
Well, we just heard what Dr. Yanni said about how he approached CSE, which I agree. I'm baffled that that's the way that they operate. And maybe it is something we should ask our lawyers, like, is this how it works? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of rules that I'm shocked at with civil
Right.
service.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the way it works. So he proposes a resolution. We didn't know about a letter that went out because it sounds like that's just pro forma that you folks do that whenever there's going to be a resolution on it, which I didn't realize. Well, I think it's personal, and I don't want to discuss employee issues. No, I know, but
It's not the letter that's important.
Ms. Kowalski, I will not
yeah,
recommend
you're not allowed to. We're not allowed to address things like this about employees and personnel in public. I'm sorry, but we just can't do
Public
that.
information.
Okay, I'm sure he has a copy too, which we can take a look. But I don't want to.
All I'm asking is that we move more towards open meetings and open meeting laws, and that when we're discussing a reorganization, I mean, I can only imagine every single civil servant employee in this district right now and how they feel. For whatever the restructure is, and you've been restructuring, and we've seen it, okay, and the loss and the changes of employees and people in this district in the last 4 years. It's a revolving door. We see it. But I'm just saying maybe we should slow down and discuss it more openly on what we're doing and why we're doing it efficiently and effectively.
But that is what's happening tonight. I mean, you're absolutely right. Everyone came out, we hear you, we understand what this resolution is, what the issue is. It's surprising about what CSEA does, what civil service does, which I don't know whether you're surprised about that, but that surprises me.
Nothing surprises me with civil service.
Okay, well, I don't deal in that industry,
So you tabled it, means you tabled it and we're not moving forward with this?
Well, I think we're going to have to talk to our attorneys about this whole issue about if you want to restructure a district, how do you go about it, and what's the proper way to go about it? I mean,
And what are the reasons for restructuring, and what
that
are
could
you
be-
trying to accomplish?
well, but a lot of, there's a lot of things that may not be able to be discussed.
Well, what are you trying to accomplish
in public.
is what we as taxpayers should know.
It depends, right?
No, it doesn't depend.
It does employee.
Then
if
you
discussing
fire an
employees-
employee by cause. You can't just give them a letter and say, I'm restructuring.
Well, it depends
There's
on where you
laws
want
to
to place,
protect
where you want to
employees as
place
well.
the employees and what you want to do with
Well,
them. A lot
I-
of times it's not.
Okay, but again, the way you're doing it, you're opening us as a district up. You can't just fire somebody saying it's restructuring when ultimately you're implying.
It sounds civil service is going to not allow
But
that,
you're
and they're going to put them right
implying
into
that
the
you're
job.
doing it on performance, but there was no performance reviews.
No, that's not,
So-
there's no performance.
Why are you putting words on my mouth?
That's why you
I
don't
never said
discuss this
performance, I said
when
efficiency.
employee issues.
So it's not it's not an employee issue, it's restructuring.
Well, it's
So
res-
why
it's
is
not-
it being
well,
done?
Employee issue is a broad term, right? Where you want to put the employee, where
And
you want to
an
put things.
individual employee issue, if it's not an individual employee issue, you can't just say you want to fire somebody and you're going to restructure.
But there's not about firing
This is
it.
a public entity, you can't do that.
That's not what,
Okay, I think you better recheck. Thank you for opening it up and tabling it until you talk more about it. Good night.
thank you very much. Okay, and that's all we have for the non-agenda items. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second. Thank you.